Hi everyone, it's Stephanie back with another spinning tutorial. Today I am going to try cashmere again. After the last video I shot where I tried to combine angora and cashmere into a cloud just by teasing it apart with my hands and then spinning straight from that cloud, after that bombed, well, I did a little bit of research and I found a video from Expertly Dyed, and I think she made it several years ago, but I found that video where she showed how to spin angora without using any tools to prep it, just using your hands. So I'm going to try her method, and I've not tried it before. I thought that I would do just like I did in the last video and share the process with you so that we can all learn something. So I have some angora here. This is straight from the bag. I have not done anything to it. So what she suggested on Expertly Dyed is, do you see how the fiber kind of comes apart in these sheets? You'll see almost a natural dividing line through here in this chunk of fiber. Well, you pull one of those off. Okay, this is probably more than I want, so I'm going to separate it a little bit right here. But you pull that apart, and it looks like I can even separate it more here. I'm going to try that, see how it works. Yep, and I can. Because remember, cashmere wants to be spun fine, and we try not to fight the fiber, okay? We spin the way the fiber wants to be spun. And then after we've got it in a little bit of a sheet here, and my sheet is narrower than the one that she had, what we're going to do, I'm trying to make sure I can do this on camera, is we are going to go through and just almost lightly draft out the fiber so that it becomes almost transparent. So that if I were to put my hand behind here, which you can't, you can kind of see it, see through right here. So I've teased that part, that section apart. Now I'm going to try it with these other sections so that you've got the fiber. So it's not chunky. Remember in my last video where the cashmere was really chunky, and we don't want that because we saw how that did not spin well. So look, I'm teasing apart this top part, and you see this is the part I've worked on, obviously, and this part I have not worked on. So I will probably finish teasing this apart off camera, unless I can speed it up here a little bit, because I don't want this to be a super long video so you guys don't get bored. But what I am finding here is that you have to be really careful while you're teasing it apart, because you can see, like right here, it's easy to create holes. And I don't know if that's going to have a huge effect or a huge impact when I'm spinning, but I guess we'll see. So I'm going to finish teasing this little sheet out. And then the next thing that we do is we pull out 2 or 3 more sheets like this. We tease them out also, again, so that it's very thin, almost like those shears that you would put over your windows that sort of filter the light instead of blocking the light. So you see, I'm going to turn it upside down so I can work on this part. It's taking me much longer than it took her on Expertly Dyed, and I'm so sorry, but I forgot her name, but she's got a lot of great information on her channel, and she's very interesting and informative to watch. She's one of the ones that I watched a lot when I started spinning, so I really recommend that you hop over to her channel whenever you get a chance. Okay, so here is this piece. I've got it somewhat teased out. It's a little bit too much here in the middle together, but I'm going to drape this over the wheel. I'm going to come back to my fiber supply and take another sheet and tease it out in the same way. And it's funny too, cashmere is a very, very warm fiber, despite its light and airy feel. And I can feel it, just this part covering my hands here, I can feel how warm it is. There's a definite temperature change on my hands here versus, or on my fingers that I'm using, versus the rest of my hand, okay? So now I have this one separated, and I'm going to combine these two, just sort of lay one on top of the other. Then I'm going to drape those over the wheel while I get my last sheet here. I'm going to pull it off, just separating it out. And it really separates easily. It's like roving. You know how there are natural divides in the roving that's processed? It's the same way here with this cashmere. Oh, and here's Percy. Hi, Percy. He's my little buddy. He likes to be by my side at everything. So he's gonna just make an appearance, aren't you, Percy? Yeah, you're a good boy. I do have it teased out. So now I'm going to take it and combine it. Just lay it on with the other sheets. And now I have 3. Then what I'm going to do is just rest this on my lap, and I'm going to, normally I would do this on my lap and be much more careful. I'm just going to roll it together, just the way we would do making a roll-ag. And if we had, if I had dowels or chopsticks or whatever, knitting needles, that would probably make this a much smoother roll-ag, but here we have it, a nice little roll-ag. I feel like mine is a little chunkier than hers was, but we'll see. I'm sure, just like everything else in spinning, it gets easier the more you practice. So you'll see I have my matchless here. Let me turn this just a bit so you can see. Now, if you watched my video on ratios, you'll understand this, but I have it now. I do have this matchless set up on double drive right now. Double drive spinning gives you a more consistently even yarn, and that's what I'm hoping for with this one. I do not want a textured yarn here. I'm looking for something that is smooth and lightweight. So I have my whirl on the largest whirl here, and there is, on the matchless, you also have a groove on your bobbin when you're doing double drive, so you have one drive band that goes over your bobbin and one that goes over the whirl, okay? So that's why it might look funny. If I was not using a double drive, I would select just the highest ratio, the largest ratio here. Okay, not the highest, the lowest ratio. So remember, that means fewer spins of the bobbin or the flyer in comparison to the big wheel, okay? Because I want this to draft on, although I'm wanting to spin fine, I want this, I don't want it to yank out of my hand, because the last time I used cashmere, although it was combined with Angora, I kept breaking the yarn. So what I've done here is I've really taken off the tension, okay? There's not much tension at all, and I am using a lower ratio. Okay, so all of that should help me not have as much pull onto the bobbin. So I am starting, as I always do, with my leader, putting the cashmere here through the leader, folding it back on itself. I have not drafted anything out of the roll-ag yet. I'm going to start spinning clockwise. You all know I always start my spinning clockwise, and I apply counterclockwise. I'm treadling very slowly, almost too slowly here. And, okay, I will say it is much easier to draft. I'm still getting little lumpy spots, but I think that's more user error because I'm not used, now I didn't combine it enough. It fell right off of the leader, okay? So those of you, I've had a lot of notes from new spinners. Look, I've been spinning probably for close to 10 years now, And you'll see I am having the same exact problem that you all are having when you start spinning. This is any time you're going to try something new, there's a learning curve. Okay, so what happened there is when I was putting the cashmere through the leader, I didn't draft out enough on this other side to fold it back on itself, okay? So that was user error. Just realize I've been spinning for about 10 years, but I have not been spinning cashmere, so this is totally new to me. So now I'm making sure I have more going through this leader, and I'm being very delicate with it, and I am trying to make sure that I've got it folded back nicely on itself. I'm going to hold right here where I have everything folded here where the yarn begins, and I'm going to let the twist enter here so that it does not come apart like it did before. Okay, so I've got a good start there, but I will tell you this is still hard to draft. I'm treadling very slowly, but this fiber prep is giving me a more consistent yarn. You'll see what I'm doing. I'm starting and stopping here, almost like when I started learning to use a spindle, which I'm going to do a video on for you all later too. If you've used a spindle before, you'll know the park and draft method where you spin the spindle, add some twist into your yarn, and then stop while you draft. That's almost what I'm doing here because the staple length is just so short that I don't have the muscle memory yet, but it's coming. I'm starting to get it now. I don't have the muscle memory yet to go along as fast as I need to for this short staple length. But I will say this is a much better fiber prep method. I am doing a very, very tiny inch draw forward, okay? Or forward draft. Very tiny forward draft. There's Hamlet, my other dog outside. I told you, he's the house protector from other dogs and birds and butterflies, anything else. Okay, so here we go. I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get the hang of it. So you see, those of you who are new, don't feel bad. Just keep going. A lot of spinning is developing the muscle memory. And when you're going slow like this, when you're making mistakes like this, it's okay. Your body, your hands, and your feet are learning to coordinate everything together. And it takes time. That's okay. Just try to enjoy the process and the fact that you are learning something new. Just like anything else, it's not going to be instant. Okay, so this is getting better. At least I'm treadling more than just once. And let me get a little further out here and I'll show you what it looks like so far. It's actually better than I thought it would be for this first time. You'll see I still have a lot of the roll ag left. This is a very slow spin for me. And it's not spinning as fine as I thought it would, that's okay. I think it could be very fine, almost like thread, if I was more experienced at this. Here we go. There's a big clump on that one. Okay, let me unroll a little bit and show you what we've got. You can see it's definitely much more consistent. It's not breaking. Let me bring you a little closer here. Okay. So you see I have a big lump right here, but again, that's because I am not used to spinning such a short staple length. All in all, I am happy with this prep method. Let's fold it back on itself. And actually, it would make a very, very pretty yarn. Let me see if I can get you here to see the yarn. Not perfect, but for a first attempt at this spinning prep method and the first attempt at dealing with such a difficult fiber, I'm happy with it. So I will rate this fiber prep method as a definite do this for cashmere. So I hope this was helpful. I've really enjoyed realizing that I could work with cashmere this way. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and a thumbs up, share the video. And as always, I love your all's comments, so please keep them coming.